the Ad Lib Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the Ad Lib Podcast. Today is episode number 81, and it's good to be back here at the Ad Lib Podcast. With me today is, as always, Mr. Joe Paolella. How's it going, Joe?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. Had a good weekend. Watched a lot of things. Today's episode, Joe, is going to be a little shorter because, unfortunately, I have to set off.
Yeah,
right?
no, I need to be gone like within the hour.
So today's episode will be a little shorter. We'll go through stuff a little quicker than we usually do.
I don't think we have that much to go through as well.
To be fair, yeah. So let's get into it straight away. So what do we have to talk about today? First of all, obviously, we need to talk about some trailers. We've got, there's a few trailers I'm not really going to comment about, Joe. I don't think. I mean, there's Deadpool and Wolverine and Alien Romulus had their final trailer. I don't even want to watch.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those. The Deadpool one apparently had something which could be considered a spoiler, which then I didn't watch the trailer, and then that got spoiled for me on other platforms.
Same.
And Alien Romulus, frankly, the less I know about it, the better.
Exactly. I think the first trailer was enough, to be honest. That's like quick run.
It's a horror film. I will watch the teaser and nothing else.
That's it. Exactly. Agreed completely. So even just that, I mean, is fine for us, right? But then we've got some trailers. There's one, Joe, I don't know if you got the time to watch it. I'll just pass a quick comment then about it later on. A Different Man, starring Sebastian Stan, who's an actor I really like.
Yes, I think to watch it.
This is, this was the perfect role for him to, get his acting chops going a little bit.
Hopefully break out of the Marvel stuff.
Exactly. And I think he has the talent to do it. We'll talk about that. There's one which really interested me. I had no idea this movie even existed, but it popped up when I do my usual movie trailer search. Conclave, starring Ralph Fiennes.
Looks very good.
Which looks really interesting. And considering the director as well. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And really quickly, we'll go through the Dune Prophecy trailer, which I'm feeling much better about after the first teaser, to be honest. The first teaser, I was a little iffy about it, but this, much better. So those are the trailers. We don't really have the time to go through the Ammy nominations. We'll just pick and choose like a couple.
I think we should go through the one which mostly concerns our little island as well.
And obviously, we have to talk about the one where we have not a Maltese, but a Gossetin costume designer, Ernest Camilleri for Ripley. We'll talk about that later on as well. And then I linked a news with a review. So we're going to look at the box office for Twisters, which is very interesting, very, very interesting to see. I'm very happy to see a movie like Twisters doing so well at the box office. And then obviously link that with the review. So me and Joe will be reviewing Twisters together. Joe then will leave, and then I'll talk a little bit about the Acolyte episode 8 season finale, where I have some ranting to do. We should get through all of this in an hour, to be honest. I don't think we have too much.
I think so.
Anyways, before we start, Joe, whilst I set up the tabs and everything, what have you been up to this week?
So this week, again, I've kind of like lapsed on the TV stuff. I have gone into my old favorites by my thing to put on if I tend to work from home or if I just want something on in the background is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It always hits the right spot for me. No matter how many times I've seen the episodes, it's still always funny and you do notice new things here and there. So that's basically it with TV for me. Like I do really need to start House of the Dragon season 2, but it's just finishing, isn't it?
Today was episode 6. Today was episode 6. So there's a couple more episodes of 8, exactly. Of 8.
Okay. Of 8. I think I can hold out until all of it is out and then I can watch it.
Yeah, I just binge watch the whole thing.
As one big thing. Even though I don't love binge watching, this actually takes up my time where I would normally have my Monday night television from like HBO releasing stuff on a Sunday, I guess. But yeah, I mean, being honest, we know I didn't love House of the Dragon season 1. I just thought it was pretty good. So I didn't feel like that kind of like urge to watch it every single week exactly when it comes out. And to be honest, the internet is actually very good about spoilers for it. So I haven't seen anything come across my feed.
That's very true. Compared with the fucking Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, that was.
I know that was done by the studio itself. That was ridiculous, to be honest. I can't believe I'm going to pay money to go and see that film this weekend, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
In general, in terms of films, I got to see Twisters. I actually wanted, this is shameless self-plug over here, but something I'm going to start doing for my channel as well, which you can follow at Joe Paolella Film on YouTube. Thank you to everyone for the support so far. Some of the videos have done much better than I thought they would, with a high being Inside Out 2 getting 2.6 thousand views, which I did not think would happen. Bike Riders got 1,000, I think. So apparently the algorithm likes me, and I'm even getting randomers from across the world that are sharing their thoughts on what I have to say. I am still figuring out the setup. It's not great. I am also going to have to move flat again, maybe next week. So that's going to be stressful, but hopefully there'll be a bit of a better setup there. Probably it'll definitely be better because I'll be at that place hopefully more permanently than I've been at this one, because I've only been in this one for about a month. My life is kind of chaos at the moment, but I am getting it together. But what I initially started this with is, obviously, like yesterday, I watched Looper, for example, because I had the Blu-ray. It's been a while since I'd seen it, and I decided to put on Looper because I really like that movie. And I never do YouTube Shorts, and YouTube Shorts are a good platform. They're very popular. So I was going to start my own little kind of like news segment, possibly called something like Movie in a Minute, where when I watch something at home, like in my free time, and it could be something I've seen before, it could be an older film I've seen for the first time, I will just do a quick review in a minute of what I thought, and that will go on YouTube Shorts. So if anyone is at all interested, that will be another piece of content I will be doing with other ideas to come further down the line. As I said, I just need some actual fucking stability in my life at the moment, which will hopefully come. Other than that, I did restart playing God of War Ragnarok, just because I never played the DLC, which was released for free. And I heard it was pretty good, and I'm in a weird place with gaming at the moment. Literally the only game I play is Predecessor with my friends, which is a MOBA game on PC. It is on console now as well. And I guess I was feeling like I was neglecting my PS5, and I do like enjoying a good story. I had liked God of War Ragnarok the first time. Like, look, let me play through it all again. It wasn't that long the first time. It was fun and it was challenging, and I liked the story. And then I can go and do the DLC with that without having to spend money. Because a part of me was like, maybe I should get Elden Ring again. I can play the DLC with that. But I don't really feel like extremely stressful games right now. I feel like something with a good story I can just kind of go into when I want, and when I get frustrated, I can just leave, kind of thing. But anyway,
just a second, Joe, because for some reason the share screen has bugged out on my screen. Let me refresh really quickly.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, should be back. Yeah, there to me though.
Yeah, there was two of you for a second. It was strange.
Yeah, I hope it's not on the screen, to be honest. I will see. Anyways.
It's not there for me anymore, so.
Okay, good. So, you were saying, Joe, last thing you were saying, sorry?
As I said, I just picked up God of War Ragnarok again just because it's a game I can enjoy at my own kind of leisure, so.
Good shit. I still have to play that game, Astra. I still have to play that game. Yep.
To
be honest, I'm waiting for it. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I'll play it on PC then when it comes out. Because to be honest, my PlayStation 4 now is just like...
No, I wouldn't say it's worth getting on PS4 now. One, it sounds like a jet engine half the time.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly when I switch it on. Yeah. Anyways, my week. I'm going to try to go through this really quickly. I watched quite a few films this week, Astra. So here's the list. So I watched a couple of the classic Soviet montage films. There's Battleship Potemkin, which I got through. That's one I had watched so many scenes from here and there.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm reading about, or watching a video about some kind of film theory.
Yeah.
And I actually never watched the whole thing from start to finish. So I watched the whole thing from start to finish. Of course, it's a classic. Then I watched Ivan the Terrible Part 1, which is great, which is really good. Another one by Eisenstein. I had a very good time watching it. It's a very different tone. I watched Dark Phoenix.
Why would you do that?
I'm just getting through all the X-Men films I haven't watched. I hadn't watched yet, and
I forgot you were on this strange journey.
Yes. So
I watched worse than Apocalypse?
Apocalypse was not great. Dark Phoenix, Dark Phoenix has some moments here and there. Yeah, it has its moments. And the soundtrack is insanely good. No one
Because like
told me that
I
was
checked,
this good.
I totally checked out after Apocalypse. I'm just like, this is horrendous.
Joe, trust me, and any viewers here who are fans of Hans Zimmer, check out the Hans Zimmer score for Dark Phoenix. It's crazy good. It's like there's no reason why he went that hard on Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, but Zimmer, he's reliable. I guess the soundtrack's always going to be good if he's in charge of it.
It's a very predictable Zimmer score, but still so good.
Yeah, I'm of the belief, despite how much I love Hans Zimmer scores, he is relying on like certain, I guess, affectations and sounds at the moment. His most diverse work recently were the Dune films, but
Dune, exactly.
Other stuff apart from that has been still very good, but fairly samey, I would say.
A little samey, I agree. A little samey. So there was that, Dark Phoenix. I was just finishing, and I have the last half an hour of The Wolverine, which is another one I hadn't watched.
Oh, that one's okay. It's pretty good.
I'm having a fine time. Visually, it's really well done. Like visually, Mangold did a really good job with it. The plot, I'm a little iffy, and I can see where the final conflict is going, and I don't really like it. I wish they could have gone with like an ancient samurai or some kind of. I can see where it's going anyway in the last half an hour, and I'm not the biggest fan. The last scene I watched was the one where they're shooting all the arrows at Logan and holding him with ropes.
Yeah,
that was great. That was a great scene. I guess it's a fantastic scene. It does have a lot of pathos. It does have, very obviously, very good cast, very underutilized Sanada. Which is unfortunate. He deserved a bigger role. I would have made him the antagonist of that film, to be honest, and have like a massive fight between like a samurai and Logan. I think that would have been a great ending. But anyways, we'll see. Because I haven't watched the last half an hour, so I can't comment on what I haven't watched. So there's that. Then I got a bunch of Scorsese Blu-rays, and I got to watch Raging Bull, which I had never watched on Blu-ray, or I just watched it on streaming, to be honest, which was insane. Like the black and white just popped so beautifully. It was crazy good, crazy beautiful. I watched After Hours also on Blu-ray, which is, I believe, one of the very few, if any, Scorsese I hadn't watched, and that's the reason why I got it on Blu-ray. And I was really impressed. I was like, wait, I haven't watched this yet. This fits in amongst some of my Scorsese favorites, After Hours.
Okay.
I loved it. Like so stylish, and it's like very Kafkaesque in its like descent into madness.
Yeah.
It's crazy good. I really liked it.
For me, you're preaching to the choir. I stand by it that the man does not have a bad film.
I need to think about that. But I think I agree with you. He
doesn't have anything below what you'd like give like a 7 on 10. Absolutely not.
But I think I can agree on. I don't think anything Scorsese that is under a 3.5. I think I agree on that. Yeah, I have to go through them all again, but I gave this a 5. And I mean, After Hours is not one of Scorsese's biggest films.
No,
I loved it.
Usually Silence gets a bad rep. What do you think of Silence?
I love Silence. I gave that a 4.5. Just a touch for the pacing. That's it. But I love Silence.
It's a film that kind of needs it as well, to be fair. You need to stuff.
100%. But like talking about pathos, Jesus, that film. No, that was stunning. That was beautiful. And the fact, I recently watched Silence as I was watching. What series were we watching?
Shogun.
Shogun, together with Shogun. So that was like a perfect combo, the two of them together. I love Silence. It's very good. And then I watched a film that I had read a lot about and never got to watch, The Passion of Joan of Arc, which is insanely good.
That's another film school one.
Yeah, some of the close-ups in that are incredibly extreme. And this was shot in 1928, and I've been watching a few films from 1915, 16, the D.W. Griffith ones from 1924, 25. And to see the camera liberated so much in The Passion of Joan of Arc was actually shocking for me, because I was used to the, stable one place, camera where you've got like, similar to what we're used to in the theater, where you get one point of view and that's it. Here, the camera moves so much. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? It was almost off-putting for a second, having watched so many films from that period of time. So getting to see that was quite impressive. I can only imagine what it felt like back then, when they literally had seen almost no camera movement, apart from something like The Last Laugh, for example, where you got Murnau, who takes advantage of some camera movement there. But this was so intense. I think this was one of the most intense films I've ever seen, The Passion of Joan of Arc, with a crazy good soundtrack. The choir chanting is so good, like so intense. I was listening to it all day yesterday. It's that good. So that's The Passion of Joan of Arc from 1928. That's pretty much my week with regard to films. So quite a few films. Then obviously about the series we'll talk about later on. I'll just say House of the Dragon episode 5. I don't really have much to say. It's a rather slow episode 5, after the insanely good episode 4. Episode 4 was one of my personal favorite, both House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones episodes. Episode 5 is a bit slower. The Daemon storyline is slightly bogging down things a little bit. We'll see how that goes to tomorrow. I guess I'll check out episode 6 tomorrow. But there is potential. There's a lot of potential for what's coming in the following episodes. By the way, I'm John in the chat. I think Scorsese doesn't have a single bad movie in his filmography, so hard to choose his best one. Agreed completely. And hello to all the chat. Hello to all the viewers. Hope you're doing well. Let us know in the comment section below what you have been up to this past week, what you've been watching, what you've been playing. Let us know in the comment section below. So, Joe, shall we get straight into it with our first trailer? We'll get into the Sebastian Stan trailer first. And here I am talking about A Different Man, where I was actually quite impressed by this trailer. Let me introduce what it's all about, first of all. So, A Different Man, the trailer for A24's next eye-catching project, A Different Man, has been released and showcases the brilliant Sebastian Stan in all his award-winning glory. For his role as Edward, a man with neurofibromatosis who undergoes pioneering surgery, Stan won the Silver Bear for Best Leading Performance at the Berlin International Film Festival, with the movie itself nominated for the coveted Golden Bear. This came following the movie's official premiere at Sundance, which saw the black comedy receive plenty of critical praise, including from Collider's very own Ross Bonham. Different Man is slated for a September 2024 US release date. So, Joe, you checked out the trailer for A Different Man. What do you think?
It's an odd one, I think, especially for someone like Sebastian Stan to take on. But overall, I'm all for it, for actors taking these kinds of swings. And I love a black comedy, so I'm very curious to see what comes of it. There was some, I don't remember what it was about, but there was some controversy surrounding the film at Berlin, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But I don't normally care for these things anyway. But no, I'm in. I mean, it's A24. It seems a fairly unique story. So
agreed. To be honest, I think the trailer does give a little bit too much from the story, because we kind of see the transformation that takes place, and we see where the story is going with regard to him looking at himself and like his perception of himself. I think maybe they showed a bit too much there. But I also have to say, however, that it really did pique my interest as someone who knew barely anything. I just knew about the title. I probably had heard about it because of the festival, the Berlin Film Festival, and that's it. It really caught my attention. I was like, okay, now this is a film that's on my radar now. Obviously, the fact that it's A24 always helps, right? That's usually, quite a safe bet that an A24 film is going to be at least watchable. Not always good, but at least watchable. The whole Sebastian Stan of it all, I think very, very, very interested to see him in a different role. Like you said at the start, Joe, it'd be interesting to see him breaking off from his like Marvel role. He looks great. I think he's going to bring all that emotional emotional complexity that role seems to require. And I'm very much looking forward to this. I heard some very good stuff about its score, by the way. I heard it's a very, 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 very powerful score. Yeah, from Collider. So I always love a good score. I always have a very good emotional score as well. So yeah, it's got A24 vibes all the way, right, Joe?
I hate that term, but I'll agree with you for the sake of it.
There you go. You're coming around. I guess this isn't a film which has A24 vibes. However, still, it has caught my interest because Ralph Fiennes is uncovering a Vatican conspiracy in the first Conclave trailer. Edward Berger is following up his critically acclaimed All Quiet on the Western Front with Conclave, a highly anticipated thriller based on Robert Harris's novel. The film stars Ralph Fiennes as Cardinal Lawrence, who must navigate the intense process of electing a new pope while uncovering a devastating secret. First trailer revealed today promises a gripping story set against the backdrop of the Vatican with standout performances from a sensational cast, including the likes of Stanley Tucci, John Lithgow, and Isabella Rossellini. The film is set to release on November 1st on a limited theatrical release before expanding wide the week after. So, Joe, promising director, very, 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 very talented cast.
Yes.
What do you think?
I'm in. That's what I'm going to say. It seems like pretty cool, deeply Catholic, religious, socio-political thriller. And it's interesting. I mean, as someone who is not religious myself, these kinds of, I guess, sects of humanity interest me deeply, and their inner workings and stuff like that. So, yeah, the cast are incredible. It is quite curious how Edward Berger is going from All Quiet on the Western Front straight to a fully English language film. But I mean,
yeah,
nowadays, I mean, just speaking from my experience, like going to Berlin, for example, everyone speaks English anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I thought you would have stayed in the German language a little bit more, but no, it looks great so far, and I'll watch Ralph Fiennes in anything. So.
Bruce just commented, aka I know what you did last supper. I don't get the reference. What's the reference, Joe?
There were these kind of trashy horror films back in the day, I think late 90s or early 2000s, called I Know What You Did Last Summer, where I may spoil the entire films here, but I think it was about a group of teenagers that accidentally killed this guy, and then he eventually comes back somehow, and he has like a hook for a hand and like seeks his revenge and stuff.
Oh,
I think that was the part. I just remember my sister being terrified of them when I was a kid. I couldn't have been older than like 6 years old at this time. But
by the way, 2 hours ago, they just reported that there's a reboot coming.
Really?
Reboot star Camila Mendes, Madeline Klein.
Oof.
2 hours ago, Hollywood Reporter exclusive. Jesus.
I mean, okay, I guess that needed rebooting, I suppose.
I guess. But yeah, anything else you wanted to add about this, Joe, by the way?
No, I'm looking forward to this one. It's releasing in that like Oscar window, so
Exactly.
The studio behind it is obviously backing it pretty heavily. So
Yep. And I'm this is one that really piqued my interest. I think Ralph Fiennes is the perfect casting choice for this kind of role. You know, again, he brings so much gravitas to his roles, and this is the kind of role where I think you do need very much a lot of gravitas. The topic also is very interesting. We get a few papal movies here and there. They generally tend to be quite good, to be honest.
Yeah.
The last one I think I watched was The Two Popes. Was that the Netflix one?
That one was quite good, actually, with Jonathan Pryce and Anthony Hopkins.
Yes, that was so good.
Who look shockingly like their real-world counterparts.
yes.
Especially Jonathan Pryce.
Didn't they have some clips at the end of the actual conversations, if I remember? And it was like, whoa, wait, what?
Yes,
exactly the same.
Yeah.
That was very good. I could have known having two, elderly great actors talking to each other for 2 hours would make for great entertainment.
Yeah, Say, Ralph Fiennes actually has another film coming out later this year, which I'm really interested in, called The Return. Have you heard of that?
The Return. I don't. The name is so
it seems to be a adaptation of the Odyssey, where he's going to be playing Odysseus as he returns.
Oh, I've seen a screenshot of this
from the journey. So I forget who the director is. I think it's an Italian director, but I'm
Pasolini.
Yes,
Pasolini.
I'm in for that 100% for Greek Odyssey story starring Ralph Fiennes.
Oh, he's literally Odysseus.
Yes.
Oh shit, he got jacked. Oh, this is I saw the screenshot of jacked Ralph Fiennes for this. Interesting. Like, where did this come from?
I know, and it's coming out later this year as well.
Okay. Writers: Edward Bond, John Colley, and Homer. This looks interesting, Asta. Okay. Has that trailer released for it yet?
I don't believe so. I think just the first image is released.
Yeah, just the first. Probably the trailer's coming out soon then, if the first images are out. Probably we'll comment about it next week then.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to conclude on Conclave, yeah, looks good. I mean, the director is made one of my personal favorite films of, what was that, 22 or 21?
Wasn't it last? No, because it was in the last Oscars, wasn't it? I can't remember.
So that would be not last year, but the year before, exactly, because that was our first top 10 movies of the year that we had.
Yeah.
Made. And it did fit in my top 10 movies. I think it was my number 5 or number 6, somewhere around that.
2022, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, exactly. I was shocked by how good All Quiet on the Western Front was.
Yes, a very good film.
I wasn't expecting anything because you see a remake of a classic film and you're like, but like, the experience of watching it at home on my own, I needed a hug after that film.
I wish I could have seen it in a theater.
I would have loved watching it in a theater. I would have loved,
because like the soundtrack in that would have been incredible.
Oh, the soundtrack that got nominated, right, for best. Yeah, it was very powerful, and the tank scene lives in my brain rent free. Like, it's, oh my god, when the tank appears, it turns into. I mean, it was always a horror film, but it turns into like a monster film. Then, impressive stuff, really good stuff. This is a completely different tone, completely different themes, completely different approach.
Yeah,
and a brave one too. The fact that it goes for such a different swing, but still a very brave swing. So we'll see. I'm very interested in this. It's based on a novel, apparently, Joe. Robert Harris, 2016 novel with the same name.
I can't say I've heard of it, but maybe I'll try to give it a read if I can find it.
But the talent behind it, makes it look very promising. Final trailer of the day, viewers and listeners, we've got the Bene Gesserit taking control in the new Dune prophecy trailer, which is set 10,000 years before Paul Atreides' rise to power. HBO has just unveiled the official second teaser for its highly anticipated original drama series, Dune Prophecy, and is set to turn the eyes of its audience members bright blue with the spice of Arrakis. Teaser goes more into detail about how the Bene Gesserit rose to power and how with that power comes new enemies. It reveals how their influence grew across the universe. It features the exact kind of action and stunning soundtracks and scores audiences have come to expect from the franchise. Joe, I don't know if you've seen the latest trailer for Dune Prophecy. Any thoughts?
No, I've only read the first Dune book, like the main one, Dune itself. I've been told by a friend of mine who is very, very much more into Dune than I am, shout out to Dan, that the source material of this TV show is not good. It is not liked by the fandom. And a lot of people from that fandom are hoping that they go very off book this time. Now, I can't comment from that point of view. What I like about this trailer, and what I wasn't so impressed about in the first teaser trailer, is visually it looks really good. Like it looks like adjacent to the films, but different. So it does look like it's from a different time period. I have some qualms about one of the cast members, just because I don't find him too convincing, and that's Travis Fimmel. Like in things I've seen, I kind of liked him in Vikings when I first started watching it, but then I saw him in Dances with Wolves, and he was, to be fair, I'm going to criticize him here for the terrible movie that he was in, and everyone was bad in that film because it was just a really bad film, which was Warcraft. But he was particularly bad in Warcraft, I feel.
I like Warcraft.
What?
I like Warcraft. It's fun.
No, it's terrible.
But Joe, have you ever been addicted to World of Warcraft?
I haven't, but that shouldn't matter.
No, but how am I going to put this? It's like
it's terrible. Like the acting, the decisions
you can appreciate
the cast and stuff like that. And I can't understand how the orcs were all CGI, except then Gamora, who's half orc, is just a person in makeup, and it just looks ridiculous. It looks cheap. It looks bad. Wasn't Oscar Isaac in the film? No, it was Dominic Cooper, not Oscar Isaac.
Dominic Cooper, yeah.
Sometimes
was the king, right?
Yes, but the cast was good at the time across the board. There was Ben Schnetzer in it. He hasn't really been in anything since, and I kind of get it because he was terrible in that film. As who is he? He becomes like the great mage,
you know,
eventually.
The mage,
archmage. The mage in the film was Ben Foster, but there's I think his name's an M in like the World of Warcraft lore for dorks.
Oh, I forgot this shit though.
But yeah, I greatly struggled with that film. I really didn't like it, and it saddened me because I liked Duncan Jones as a director at the time because I liked Moon and I thought Source Code was pretty cool as well. But he hasn't really made anything since, and that doesn't totally surprise me. But that's my rant on Travis Fimmel. I don't find him too convincing as an actor. Hopefully, I'm always open to being proven wrong. Because in Vikings, he was pretty good. But that's in what I think are the better seasons of Vikings, which are the earlier ones, and then it gets a bit gimmicky as that goes.
Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. I really like the first few seasons of Vikings. You said the perfect word, gimmicky. The dialogue especially was so weird in Vikings. I don't know what's up with the dialogue, but Bruce said that Warcraft was such a letdown. As a Duncan Jones fan, I was hyped. Bruce, are you a fan of the World of Warcraft world, by the way? Curious. I don't think you are, but out of curiosity. I am a bit of a Travis Fimmel stan. I liked him in that show. What show was it on HBO? Which they cancelled. That was Dances with Wolves.
No, Raised by Wolves. Sorry,
Raised by Wolves. Raised by Wolves.
I thought that show was overall pretty bad, and I thought it was horrendous.
Really? I watched one season. I didn't watch.
I watched one season too, and I was just like, "This is just not good."
I didn't mind it. I thought it was a okay, like a 3 out of 5 show for me.
The concept was cool, but the execution was not there for me.
I know zero about Warcraft. Okay, fair enough. I thought the concept was really cool. I was looking forward to season 2. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I never got around to watching the second season. It's there. It's there, downloaded on my external hard drive. It's been there for years. Anyways, Dune Prophecy. So Joe, when I watched the first trailer, my first reaction was, we have that meme of Mom, can we have Dune? And Mom says, no, we have Dune at home. And it's like someone trying to take the Villeneuve style of aesthetics and cinematography and just, it's okay, it's fine, but it's not Villeneuve, right? And that's my first take. That was my first take when I saw the first teaser trailer. Watching this second trailer, I'm a bit more into it now. I think this trailer shows a bit more, and I'm happy with what it showed, to be honest. I'm loving the tone and the visuals. These shots look great. Overall, it looks promising. It'll be interesting to see. There's some very interesting characters, like for example, Emily Watson as Valia Harkonnen, who is basically one of the persons who establishes the Bene Gesserit. I did some research, Joe, and apparently the book is Sisterhood of Dune, which is by Brian Herbert. Now, like you said, Joe, the Brian Herbert books are not.
Yeah, the fandom have rejected them completely.
So there's that. I haven't read them, so I can't comment about it, right? Yeah. But from what I've read, they're not very good. This is 10,000 years prior to Dune. So, I mean, this is doing what we wanted out of Star Wars, right? To be fair.
I suppose.
Because we said we want, to go far away as possible from like from the Star Wars world of the Skywalkers and so on. Go 10,000 years in the future or back in time. And this is doing that. So to be fair, we can't complain about, everything is the same with Dune.
Yeah, I mean, yet. We'll see.
Yet. Exactly. Well, we'll see. The cast is solid, though.
Mark Strong, the cast is very good.
Olivia Williams, Jodie May. Yeah, it's a good cast. So those are our thoughts on Dune Prophecy. That's it with regard to trailers. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts about all these different trailers we have commented about. We're now going to get into the Emmy nominations, specifically one Emmy nomination, which obviously caught the attention of all the Maltese and Gossetins especially, because the Gossetin costume designer nominated for an Emmy Award, that is Ernest Camilleri, who says winning would be A+. This is Ernest Camilleri. Gossetin Ernest Camilleri has just been nominated for an Emmy for his design of period costumes. For the series Ripley, which is streaming on Netflix, Camilleri expressed his excitement with Times of Malta ahead of the ceremony in September, saying that bagging the award would be A+. I'm very happy about the nomination, as it is a recognition of all the work that has been done. We worked on this series for almost a year and a half, he said about news that he is one of the nominees vying for the Outstanding Period Costumes for a limited or anthology series or movie award. Joe, have you watched Ripley?
I've only watched one episode. When I was back in Malta, I'd started it with my mum, because my mum, it's ridiculous. Now, at her age, she consumes literally 5 times the amount of television that I do. It's basically all she does. She just sits and watches TV series, and she was looking for a new one, and I said, I heard this one is very good, and I had watched one episode and it was very good. I've just never gotten back to it myself, but I do intend to.
It's well worth to watch. I think one of the best looking, like I posted this on my Facebook.
The black and white is beautiful in it. The lighting, and even just noticing from one episode, the costumes are stunning in it.
Indeed. It's like just the whole production design of it all is just so well done. This is when they say every Netflix show or film has the Netflix look. This breaks completely from that. Completely breaks away from that. Obviously, the fact that it's all taken care of by Steven Zalian, obviously that helps a lot, right? You've got an Oscar winner taking care of the show. And that helps a lot, right? That helps a lot. I think we're here to talk about the costumes, of course. I think, again, perfect choice with all the different costume choices. It looks great. Stunningly shot. I think Ripley is the kind of show where, as you watch it, I felt like I was learning about how to shoot a series or a film, because it's so beautifully done and its use of locations is so stunning. I was really impressed. It's a bit slow at times. There are episodes where it can get a little pedantic at times, but it flows well. The 8 episodes flow really well. The performances are stunning. Yeah, it's an overall fantastic show. You can see even from these small shots that I'm showing here, the camera set up so perfectly. And you mentioned it, Joe, the use of lighting. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a major theme of the show, the lighting in it. So it's not just there for aesthetics. Actually, also important plot points have to do with the lighting. It's a fantastic show. Props to Netflix for releasing this. Were they the producers behind this as well, or were they just the distributors?
I think the producers as well, I believe.
So yeah, props to Netflix. I would give them a lot of shit for this. For their many shit movies, but Ripley is fantastic. So apparently, I just looked it up. Joe, Ripley was originally set to air on Showtime, but in February 2023, the series was moved to Netflix.
Okay. So who actually produced it? Let's see.
I'm not sure. Production, so development. It was announced a series of order of 8 episodes was commissioned by Showtime. To be
Okay,
written
so
and
it was
directed.
originally a Showtime show.
Yeah. Yeah. They lost a banger, Astra. They lost a banger. How did they lose this Showtime?
Well, I guess they lost the distribution. They must have produced it, though.
So the series was co-produced by Showtime and Endemol Shine North America in association with Entertainment 360 and Film Rights. Though designed as a limited series, further seasons are a possibility.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, just to conclude our talk up here, again, big congratulations to Ernest Camilleri. Great talent who's worked on a lot of stuff. I was looking, they were talking a little bit about how he kind of came to fame. He's worked on a lot of different shows and films. A lot of the stuff filmed in Malta, of course, Game of Thrones, Ben-Hur and Captain Phillips. He's worked even in the Olympics as well. He's been working on costumes for years and years, and this is, I think, a well-deserved, acknowledgement of a very talented man who is plying his trade both in Malta and abroad. So congrats to him. Don't know if you want to add anything else, Joe.
I'm just looking at his credits. It's a very good resume over here. So congrats to him, as you said.
Yep. Congrats to Ernest Camilleri, making the Gossitans proud. With regard to the Emmys, Joe, I just wanted to mention a couple, from the most important ones. I'm actually noticing how many shows I haven't watched. I did not watch last year, but I'm happy to see Fallout in the list for Best Drama Series. I had a very good time watching Fallout. Happy to see Mr. and Mrs. Smith there. I think this is going to be the Shogun year, right, Joe? I think we both agree that Shogun.
It better be.
I'm surprised to see Three Body Problem there, because although I did quite like it, and Franco, I think, liked it even more than I did, not all the critics were, in love with it. But I'm happy to see that, it's doing well. And it's getting nominated as well for an Emmy for best drama series. So that's good. Yeah, Gilded Age. I have to start Gilded Age. Hear a lot of good stuff about it. Happy for Imelda Staunton there for The Crown. Anna Sawa, I think, should win this. Personally speaking, she's stunning.
And Hiroyuki Sanada should win it.
Oh, he's 100
as well.
There's no way he does not win it. There's no way he does not win it. There's not a chance in hell that Hiroyuki Sanada does not take it. Donald Glover, happy to see Walton Goggins as well. I thought he was very good in Fallout. Dominic West in The Crown. He has some very good nominations here. Overall, very happy with this. I think. Oh, where'd it go? Tadanobu Asano will definitely take Best Supporting Actor. I think he was too much of a fan favorite not to get nominated for that.
I mean, in my mind, Shogun makes a pretty clean sweep of the Emmys this year, but I can't see it happening, unfortunately.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it should, but I don't think they will.
I think Shogun is going to get a clean sweep, like a complete, total clean sweep of all the awards they're basically competing in, to be honest. I think it was just that good. And the critics, have heaped praise above praise on Shogun.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the main topic of the day, which is Twisters. And to start off our discussion on Twisters, Joe, I just wanted to mention this really quickly. It's doing really well at the box office. 80.5 million domestic opening.
It beat its projection. It was projected to make 72.
Yeah, exactly. So Lee Isaac Chung's Twisters is whipping up huge wins at the box office, with forecasters predicting a far better than expected domestic opening of $80.5 million in North America. That's even up from Saturday's already, because Saturday they already brought up the estimate, I believe, Joe, 74.6, and then I hate Hollywood Reporter. I can't. So yeah, it's really impressive. Surprisingly, then I read that abroad, meaning obviously the rest of the world, it's not doing as well as predicted, but domestically in America, especially, obviously, in the Central America, especially in Oklahoma, Twisters is doing the rounds, really doing the rounds. Anyways, Joe, shall we get into it then? Twisters.
Yeah, absolutely.
We both got to watch Twisters. Do you want to start off the review?
Yeah, sure. So Twisters, as we mentioned, directed by Lee Isaac Chung. To give a brief overview of the plot, it essentially follows storm chasers in Oklahoma, with one team, I guess, led by Daisy Edgar Jones's character of Kate Cooper or Kate Carter. I can't remember which one it was, where she's on the side of, like, she's got her friend Harvey, who she has a history with, because I'm just trying not to spoil anything here, but they want to like 3D scan tornadoes to find out more about them. But then there's Glenn Powell's character of Tyler Owens, known as the Tornado Wrangler, and he's essentially a modern day cowboy, but instead of horses or bulls, it's tornadoes. That's kind of what you need to know. As I'd already done my review on my channel, thank you for everyone that has watched that and engaged with that. I was quite surprised by this film. I think, Andrea, when you sent the original trailer a couple of months ago in our Ad Lib Podcast group chat, I was just like, this looks shit. Like, it looks ridiculous, it looks cheesy, it looks stupid, but I had a really good time. I got to see it in IMAX on a massive screen with really good sound, and that's probably the best way you could see a natural disaster film, like, just in general, on the biggest screen possible. I did rewatch the original Twister the day before going to watch this, just kind of refresh my memory about that. And that's a film that seems to be kind of getting very reclaimed now as like a unloved classic. And I think the first one is very fun. It's extremely 90s. But as I said, I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. It did involve a little bit of switching off my brain, because I did say to myself, look, I am going into a film about people chasing tornadoes. You know, like, how serious is that really going to be? But I let myself have fun. It then played to parts of my personality, because I mentioned in my review, the soundtrack, I'm a big fan of country music. Most of the artists who are on this soundtrack, I listen to in my free time anyway. So it was very cool and nice to have them write and record songs specifically for this film. I gave a particular shout out to Luke Combs and his track Ain't No Love in Oklahoma, when they introduced Glenn Powell's character. I thought that was perfect use of that song to reveal that character. But no, I had fun. I thought it was lighthearted. The biggest praise I'll give it out of everything, though, and that's the part that surprised me, and then why it, I guess, made sense. We always questioned why Lee Isaac Chung was making this film after he made something like Minari. It just seemed a bit bizarre to go from that quiet indie film with deep social political themes to people firing fireworks into tornadoes. But I thought it was like terrifically directed. The way the camera moves and the way he makes you feel like you're in these storms is incredible. And then another thing, just because we're so used to talking about bad CGI in big budget Hollywood films, I thought this looked stunning overall. Mm-hmm. And I saw it on the biggest screen that I could, and like things look real. The only time I was taken out of it a little bit is towards the end, when there's that tornado which catches fire because it hits the big like oil refinery thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's when I was a little bit like, okay, now we're pushing things a little bit. But no, I really enjoyed it. To me, I had said after I watched it, it's kind of the perfect 4 out of 5 movie, because it's just there to be enjoyed. It's not there to be analyzed. It is like so obviously just a fun summer blockbuster where it's not doing anything so cinematically great with anything that it's doing, I suppose, where it's going to go above a 4.5. Its script is far too weak to take it anywhere above that. But then I don't think it's doing anything bad to take it below that. It is perfectly in that kind of gap where if I would recommend this to any kind of casual film goer. I'll be like, look, go watch this, you'll definitely enjoy it.
Oh, 100%. I think this is the perfect normie film.
Yeah. I didn't want to sound offensive, but it is definitely the perfect normie film.
100%.
I went to watch it with my boss, because I knew that he would love this kind of film. So he does like films a lot, to be fair, and he likes some very good films. but he's got a certain taste for these 90s and 80s kind of like little cheesy action films. And I had asked him earlier in the week, I said, do you want to go watch this together kind of thing? And he was like, yeah, and he loved it. Like, he thought it was fantastic. So that kind of tells you what you need to know about that. But I understand, we had a bit of a chat about it on our chat where you were not as quick to heap praise as I was.
No, I didn't love it. I liked it. I had a good time in the cinema. Don't get me wrong. I had a very good time in the cinema. But I think it has some issues. Now, of course, issues. We are talking about twisters, so sometimes you do need to switch off. It's not just a question of switching off your brain, because I can do it. Crazy stuff happening, and yeah, sure, it's twisters, right? But I did have some issues. So let me get into my main thoughts about the film. First of all, to start off with positives, I really need to mention Glen Powell. Glen Powell is fun in this film.
Yes, he's perfect in this film.
He's and that leads me then to a negative. Then I guess maybe he's a bit too good in this film compared to the rest.
Yeah, I did agree. I thought him and Edgar Jones were good together. The weak link is definitely Anthony Ramos, and that is mainly because his character is the most bland one, and where the script problems lie the most, because he's got some very lazy exposition given to his character to say, and some very lazy character moments. But there were moments when you get to stay with Tyler Owens and his crew where I was like, you could have given me 2 hours of this.
Oh, 100%. And like I told you, Joe, like I told you in the chat, if we spent 2 hours with Tyler and his crew, I would have been much happier with this film, probably.
Yeah. But I thought how they handled like the past trauma that Daisy Jones's character has, I thought it was very well handled. To compare that in the previous Twister from 1996, that trauma is dealt with in a line of terrible exposition. This is actually shown to you in a really good and very scary way.
I agree 100% with you. You see, the thing about the original Twister, however, is that it's so fun. I think the original Twister is more fun than this, for example.
It's definitely more lighthearted than this. This one takes itself a bit more seriously.
So I can forgive the original Twister in its very lazy exposition and its very lazy approach to, creating some kind of disaster in our main protagonist's past and the whole... I can kind of forgive that. Here, the film Twisters feels a little more serious. Now, how serious can Twisters really be? But it does feel a little more serious. It does delve a little bit more into the destruction and the effects it has on families in Central America. It does delve into the destruction and what it means like to be in a town which is destroyed. And then it does delve into the people who go to help these families who experience the disaster. So I think the screenplay does put more focus onto that. So that's a good thing, mind you. That's not a bad thing at all. And it was very powerful seeing the destruction of that big town. And the scene in the pool, for example, seeing those people panic and getting pulled by the...
That water is fantastic as well.
That's impressive stuff.
An incredible shot.
Really good stuff. And then seeing Glen Powell becoming very emotional there, that was, really good stuff. Really, all very impressive stuff. My issue is not with those moments. My issue is with any moment where, unfortunately, Glen Powell is not on screen. Where... the opening 30 minutes of the film, I don't know. Does Glen Powell appear in the opening 20 minutes of the film?
I think he turns up probably around the 25 minutes mark.
Just a little bit, maybe. And I'm like, I started to feel a little jealous. I was like, can I go there, please? And at one point, I turned to Frank. I was like, I really don't want to spend time with the fucking antagonists of the first film. Like, these are the bad guys from the first film. No, why are we following them? Like, why are we following the suits in the sleek cars? I want to see the pickup trucks and the let's go into the... I felt so jealous. And I'm like, I want to be the journalist in this, not these fucking losers. Man. And then eventually we do, right? The film does have its spoilers, but obviously it was always going to happen. It does have, the twist, where Daisy Edgar Jones' character goes with Tyler. Anthony Ramos's character is rough, though.
Yes, he does. He has
It's
definitely
rough.
the worst character in the film.
Rough, really rough, really rough.
He gets a bit of a reprieve towards the end, but it's a bit lazy as well.
And there's some very weird romance they're trying to develop there between the two, and it's no.
I don't know.
No.
I kind of liked it, and I commend them not for going for the totally cheesy thing towards the end.
Yes. Did you see the report about them removing then the kiss with Tyler?
Yes, which is a good decision that they removed it.
I agree. And I know a lot of people were criticizing the fact that Lee Isaac Chung removed it. I think it's
it works much better.
100% the right decision to do there. 100% the right decision.
Anyway, I unfortunately have to go.
Yes, Joe. So we'll just conclude with our ratings for Twisters. Joe, your rating for Twisters is
as I said, it is that perfect 4 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
It is the perfect normie film.
I'm more on a 3. I'm between a 3 and a 3.5. If we had
3.25.
Yeah, I guess, right? Like a 6.5.
Yeah.
I'd say. But we don't do. We just do 3, 3.5, or 4. So I'm gonna go with a 3. A rewatch could probably turn this into a 3.5. But yeah, good having you on, Joe. I'm gonna end with a rant on the Acolyte.
Enjoy. I look forward to watching it later.
I need to get it out of my system. I really need to get it out of my system.
Yes, and stop watching shitty Star Wars shows.
I
love Star Wars more than like anyone on earth, but I will not put myself through that. Just stop doing it.
And if they release a season 2 of the Acolyte, Joe, please help me.
Don't do it. You have free will. Just don't do it.
Please make me stop.
No one has a gun to your head.
Help.
Like you need to watch it.
I need help.
You do. I've been saying it for a while. Anyway,
I can't deal with season 2.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and best of luck with your Acolyte rant.
Thanks, Joe.
Enjoy.
See you, bud. Ciao. All right. So that's our review for Twisters done and dusted. I guess I'm just going to mention really quickly, obviously, we had the season finale also for The Boys. Not much to say here, to be honest. Without spoiling anything, it's nigh impossible to comment about it. But I'll just say that The Boys, episode 8 of season 4, perfectly sets up season 5, perfectly sets up the direction for all our different main characters, whether it's Butcher, whether it's Homelander, all these characters, their stories are set up perfectly. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing where all these different storylines will go, and the final showdown between Billy Butcher and Homelander is going to be crazy. I am so looking forward to this. Now, my Acolyte rant. Let's get into it. So obviously, the other show I watched this week, basically concluding the season, was episode 8 for The Acolyte. Now, it's going to be nigh impossible to do this without spoilers. I'm going to try not spoil the final episode, but I'm going to have to mention some details from previous episodes. So, The Acolyte. Let's get into it. First of all, I have to say that considering this is an 8-episode season, the fact that we had 2 out of those 8 episodes, which were flashback episodes, is, in my opinion, criminal. And not different flashbacks, but flashbacks to the same event from 2 different points of view, completely ruining, completely destroying any kind of pacing that the stories were building, any kind of build-up, nothing, everything destroyed. 2 episodes which basically showed the same thing. And the even more criminal aspect of that, and here I'm talking specifically about episode 7, because episode 3, in my opinion, is the worst episode of Star Wars I have ever watched. Episode 7 was still very bad, like awful bad. And the worst thing about episode 7 was that we got very few, if any, satisfying answers to all the questions we had, which makes me think, why wasn't this all shown in one episode? Like, what were we building up to? What wow discovery were we building up to? Now, obviously, the major issue with The Acolyte is the writing. We have to talk about the writing, which is, in my opinion, terrible. There are so many plot holes, so many plot holes, whether it's characters being blamed for what happened. So there's a particular character who is blamed for, the murders of the different Jedi. Now, the thing is that we know, because we've seen this in previous episodes, that these Jedi, their murder has been seen by other characters. Now, I really don't get what's going to happen here. So Vernestra blames the murders of Torbin, the murder of Indara, the murder of Kalnaka, and the murder of the witches, all on one character. I'm not going to say who. I think it's quite obvious if you've been watching The Acolyte. But there's so many witnesses to the different murders. I mean, even just the fact that Indara's murder was seen by a whole bar full of people. Like, they know what happened. The bar, I don't get what's going on there. Now, I guess I have to spoil this, right? There's no way I can approach it. So if you don't want to be spoiled as to what happens in episode 8, please stop the video now. It's terrible. It's awful. The performances are bad. The screenplay is horrific. The editing is a disaster. Don't watch episode 8 because you're going to ruin Star Wars for yourself. So spoilers from now on. So as I was referring to, obviously Vernestra blames the murders of all those different Jedi on Sol, right? Now, at the end of episode 8, we see Vernestra entering to talk. Oh God, it just frustrates me so much saying this. Entering to talk to Yoda. And which makes me think, and makes everyone think, that either Yoda is the biggest idiot ever, where he's going to believe the lies by Vernestra, all those lies, obviously, of all those deaths being blamed on Sol, or else Yoda is a massive liar, who, when later on in The Phantom Menace, when we see Ki-Adi-Mundi saying that the Sith have not been seen for over 1,000 years, and Yoda says nothing at all. Oh no, all those Jedi who died. No, that was another Jedi who killed them. No, that was just Sol. This well-respected, beloved trainer of young Jedis. No, that was his fault. He did that. No, that wasn't the Sith doing that. He's either a liar or a massive idiot. One or the other. So Leslie Headland didn't only manage to ruin a show, she also managed to ruin one of the most beloved characters of all time, Master Yoda. This is awful. Now, moving on. The writing is just so terrible. The writing for this is just horrific. The screenplay, the dialogue between the characters, no one talks like a normal person. No one explains themselves. You've got, for example, when Sol is being blamed and Osha tells him, but why did you kill Mother Anisea? He doesn't explain himself. He doesn't say that Mother Anisea turned into this fucking demon monster shadow thing and was eating up May as well. What's the reaction from a Jedi going to be? Like, what is a Jedi supposed to do? Seeing this fucking demon monster made of fucking smoke eating up a kid. Of course he's going to attack it with a lightsaber. But Sol does not explain himself then to Osha, which leads to Osha killing Sol in a terribly directed scene. The performances in that scene were horrible. Amandla Stenberg, I'm sorry, I don't know if I've seen her in anything else. I don't remember seeing her in anything else, to be perfectly honest. But Oh, she was ruined the Hunger Games. Oh, I guess I saw that. And Bodies. I watched that as well. Yeah, she was okay in that. But her performance in The Acolyte has been horrific. One facial expression. She has one facial expression. If she's angry, she stares at the camera. If she's happy, she stares at the camera. If it's just poker faces from her, no emotions, nothing. And even worse was the CGI teardrop. She actually cannot cry. And they have to add a CGI teardrop in the scene where she's saying, where Osha or May, they're saying goodbye to each other. They actually had to add a CGI teardrop, guys. This is breaking my brain. Oh, that breaks my heart. I did not watch The Acolyte, and Amanda Stenberg might have been subpar in the show, but she is a very talented actress. I think it's more to do with the direction and the screenplay, Keith. I think it's more to do with the direction and screenplay. Which, again, breaks my heart, because Kogonada, who is one of my personal, favorite contemporary directors, directed episodes 3 and episode 7, which were the 2 worst episodes of the whole show. I adore Kogonada. Keith, you know, because you've been watching this show for years now. I adore Kogonada. I love Kogonada. But just, such a frustrating show to watch. Such a frustrating show to watch. And this leads me then to the characters, May and Osha. It's not just the performance by Amanda Stenberg, which is so bland, zero emotions, but their storyline, the writing for their characters is just so boring and uninteresting. Again, the acting does not help, but there is no distinction between the two. Now, yes, it's true. Spoilers, it is a divergence, which leads to one person becoming two. Power of one, the power of two, the power of many, yes. But these two, they grew up in completely different contexts. So how do they end up acting almost pretty much the same way? How do these, Osha and May, how do they fight exactly the same? When one was trained for years by Jedi, and one was trained for years by a Sith. Completely different fighting styles, completely different use of emotion or lack of emotion in their fighting. But how then do we see a fight where they completely match each other? Yin and Yang, oh my God, Yin and Yang, Osha and May, oh. It's so frustrating to watch, so frustrating to watch. Now, to talk about the fight choreography and to mention a positive, the final episode had a very, very, very good fight sequence between Khmer and Sol. Really impressive stuff. And to continue on the positives, I do have to say that there were some very good characters in this and some very good performances. I thought Sol, up to episode 6, fantastic. I love his character. I started off a little iffy about him, but I think Sol in this was great. And Lee Jung-jae, very talented actor, great performance, brings so much powerful emotion to Sol. Very, very strong performance. I have to also say Bene Gesserit. Bene Gesserit, great performance as Khmer. His character is nothing to write home about, but he brings, again, a great performance, great physicality, great choreography. He's fantastic in this. I really, really like the performance by Bene Gesserit. I also have to mention how unfortunate it is that a great actress like Daphne Keane, her character Jackie, who, wasn't the greatest character ever, but was fun. I enjoyed watching her on screen. Daphne Keane is a fantastic, talented, actress. And her character is killed off in episode 5? For what reason? I don't know. I don't know. Such a pity. Again, great fight sequence there. Great, fight choreography and skills shown there by Daphne Keane. Fantastic talent. But, so those are some positives, right? The fight choreography is great, really well done. Really well, also, I have to say it, well directed as well. But, moving on to some other negatives. The editing. The editing in this show has been a disaster. A disaster. There's one scene where we see Osha and May both about to kick each other. and the scene cuts to Saul and Kimir with fighting with their lightsabers. But the cut happens a frame too early, where there's no contact between the 2 feet. It's stuff like this, amateur mistakes like these. And that's just one example. I can give you 1,000 examples of terrible cuts, poor choice of edits and cuts. The way the story was put together was horrific. It's just so disappointing. Just so disappointing. Oh. And again, you've got some good stuff, right? You've got Kimir, who brings a compelling story to it. Manager Kinto, again, his performance was great. I love the helmet. I think the helmet is fantastically designed. Would love to get a helmet like that. And my final rant that I want to mention about the Acolyte are the fan service. So many people have been talking about, all you Star Wars fans want is fan service. You just want fan service. This show literally is surviving on its fan service. Can anyone tell me one good thing shown in The Acolyte, episode 8, which doesn't involve, again, a massive spoiler for an appearance in episode 8 of The Acolyte, which doesn't involve the appearance for 3-4 fucking seconds of Darth Plagueis? Can you tell me that there's anything good about episode 8 minus the fight choreography and the fight scene between Saul and Kimir, which doesn't involve Darth Plagueis? And Darth Plagueis means nothing to the story, brings nothing to the storyline. He's just there staring at the twins like a creepy uncle. That's it. He's just staring. Nothing else. Does nothing. Brings nothing to the story. Brings nothing. Nothing to the teams. Nothing at all. Yoda brings nothing to the show. Oh my God, it's Yoda in the final scene. Oh my God. Nothing at all to the show. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. With Yoda and with Darth Plagueis appearing and without them appearing, it means nothing. It's just a waste of time and just for fans to cream their pants. Because it brings nothing to the quality of the show. It means nothing to the story. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Anyways, The Acolyte is terrible. Don't watch it. That was my rant. I needed to get out of my system because I've wasted so much time on this trash show. Leslie Headland, you made a great show in Russian Doll, but this is not good. This is not good. Not good at all. And I can continue talking about the other shit stuff in this. Rebecca Henderson, who's there because she's married to Leslie Headland, one of the worst performers in the whole show. Terrible. Jodie Turner-Smith is fine. I like Jodie Turner-Smith in this as a Mother Ernest. Carrie-Anne Moss is great. I liked her. Criminally underutilized. Criminally underutilized. Oh, so frustrating. So. Such a frustrating show. Such a frustrating show. I'm going to conclude this podcast, guys, by saying thank you to all the viewers and listeners who joined us today. Thank you, obviously, to Joe, who joined us in the first hour of the podcast. I hope you had a good time watching this podcast and listening to me rant about a terrible Star Wars show on Disney+. Next week is the Deadpool and Wolverine week. And next week, we should be joined by Mr. Ashley Peschel. Will be joining us for next week's episode of the Ad Lib Podcast, where we'll be talking full spoilers about Deadpool and Wolverine. Hello, the movie man. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm just concluding the podcast right now. You knew better, Andrea. How could you do it yourself, friend? I had to conclude it, my friend. I have to watch all Star Wars. It's like an addiction at this point. I was telling Joe before, the movie man, I was telling him, please help me get out of this addiction. It's like, I know it's bad, but I struggle not watching it. I feel like I'm missing out. My FOMO just hits so bad with something like Star Wars. I can't not watch it. But I will come here and complain about it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much to all the viewers and listeners. Thank you for joining us. It's been a great podcast as always. Very fun one. Short one, but still very fun. And it was good to get it out of my system. I really needed that. And with that, viewers and listeners, let us know in the comment section below if you've watched Twisters, if you've watched The Boys, if you've watched The Acolyte. Let us know in the comment section below. I've given you my thoughts, and I think my very honest and frank thoughts about it. Thank you for biting the bullet so we don't have to. I'm there for you, the movie man. So with that, guys, viewers and listeners, thank you so much for joining us, and peace out. See you next week for the next episode of the Ad Lib Podcast. Like and subscribe. Don't forget, ciao, ciao. And since Franco isn't here, free Palestine.